Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hope. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors. This is my YouTube channel and podcast, helping other people evolve. Today, I have a guest, a very special guest. She's been on my show before, but it's been over 2 years ago. Her name's Jaime Gill. How are you, Jamie?
I'm excellent. How are you, Tammy?
I'm fantastic. If you guys are watching this on video, you can see her shirt says Hope, and that's what this whole podcast today is going to be about. Is Jamie's hope. She just went through a journey of needing to have hope and faith and belief and all of that. So I'm super excited to chat with you about that, Jamie.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too.
Get ready. I just want to let everybody know, in case you have never tuned into Hope before, or maybe you have and you forgot what my mission was. But my mission and vision with Hope is just to help people, mostly that are at home feeling like they're struggling by themselves, or just driving around feeling like they're struggling by themselves. We all have gone through struggles. We all go through struggles. The thing that we need to learn is how to navigate through those struggles, and to know that people get through the things. We battle, and we battle hard. We can either lay down and let the struggle kill us, or we can get up and fight as hard as we can to get through these things. So what I just hope is that you hear a story, and maybe it's Jamie's story today, and it might not be what you're going through, but you could hear her story and you could hear how she's gotten through this. And maybe you can get out of bed today and just walk outside and take a deep breath and be like, I can do this. And that's just what my hope is here. So I'm super excited, Jamie.
Me too. Me too. This is my first interview since the journey. So, and I'm glad it's you.
Awesome. I'm glad to say too. I appreciate it. So a little bit of background. I met Jamie through my friend Glenn Murray. Jamie is an author also. I have 3 of her books here. Lessons for the Little Girl. She wrote Lessons for the Little Boy. Boy. And Lessons for the Little Girl Part 2. So these 3 are really good books that we can get on Amazon. But today we talked about these back in June, and her story and how she got through that. And this story, you said Jamie started in February, this journey that you were on?
Technically, February 14th, to be exact, the love day.
The love day. That's not a day that you wanted to get this type of love, right?
Yeah.
But
yes.
It's God's love, I think. So
yeah.
That's important. So I guess first let's just start out. Did you get a mammogram done and then find out? Okay.
So that's February 14th is the beginning, is because I went to my primary care doctor so that she could schedule my annual mammogram. And I was doing just a general checkup. I had 2 major surgeries the year prior. So we're just doing follow-up checkup to get the mammogram. So I had my mammogram a week later. And my primary care doctor told me, don't get nervous if they ask you to come back, because you have very dense breasts. So if it's your first mammogram, they're typically going to ask just so they can learn your body. So I was like, okay. So a week later, I went to get my mammogram. And as she said, they had me come back the very next day. And I was like, okay, my doctor prepared me for this.
Right.
So as I'm there, my mom went with me the second one. And I worked in healthcare for 3 years during COVID. So you begin to learn doctors and nurses, nonverbals, and just their body language and their energy. So I'm just kind of sitting there, and my mom says, how do you feel? I said, I feel like they're throwing me a party to tell me my dog died. I just felt something in the energy, but I was staying hopeful. I was staying positive. Breast cancer did not run in my family. So there was nothing that I was anticipating literally at all. They asked me to come back for a biopsy. I went back 2 days later for a biopsy. And that's where they saw something. And I have this literally saved. It's suspicious. There was something suspicious in my left breast. So they went back for the biopsy. They told me that I would have to wait a week for the results. Of course, it was the longest week of my life, right? And then on March 6th, I got the telephone call that unfortunately I had breast cancer. And I literally felt numb, because, there are these moments where you almost feel like it's not real. I I was at work. My boss knew that I was kind of waiting for this call. So I said, if you see me on my phone, it's just because I'm waiting for the doctor to call me with these results. And so they found a malignant tumor on the left and a benign cluster on the right. And so they said, well, we want to get you in, talk next steps, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. So the first thing I did was I went to a breast cancer class that Friday. So I found out like on a Wednesday, I think it was. It was earlier in the week. And then so that Friday, I went to a breast cancer education class.
Okay.
So I go to the Cancer Specialist Center and I'm sitting outside this, and I wore this shirt called Living My Best Life. And I said, Mom, we're just gonna do this. You know, we're gonna go in positive. We're just gonna go, you know, this is nothing. They're gonna take it out, it's gonna be nothing. So I'm learning terminology and I'm learning my diagnosis. And with breast cancer, they're gonna tell you that there are three areas that you're gonna probably hear a lot: ER, PR, and HER2. I was ER positive, PR negative, HER2 positive. And essentially what that means is my cancer is estrogen fed cancer. And it can, and I'm a woman, so you know we have estrogen. So that's very, very dangerous. So I had one of the most aggressive cancers. It was I thought cancer was just known by stages. You know, we know stage 1 through 4.
Right.
But there is also a grade of cancer. And
Oh.
there's a grade of 1 through 3. Well, I was grade 3, which is the highest, but I'm stage 1 because of the size and location.
Okay.
So I'm processing all of this information that these professionals have been studying for 20 or 30 years. I'm now having to hear, process, and understand for myself. So ultimately what I heard and had to understand was that I had a cancerous tumor that was small, but because of the type of tumor that it is very unpredictable and very dangerous. So they needed to get it out as soon as possible. So May 17th, I had surgery. I had what's called a bilateral oncoplastic reduction. And what that means is I had a breast reduction on both breasts because I also had them remove the cluster that was benign. Because something that looks like cancer, I don't want it to develop. And it was a very tough decision to come to. You know, do you get just this lumpectomy of sorts, or do you get just one of your boobs removed, both of them? Like, you know, I was 44 at the time of my diagnosis, you know, and I'm like, and I have to make these decisions quickly, right? Because you can't delay because the cancer's moving and you're right. So I decided to go with the bilateral oncoplastic so I could still have something. So I went from being a very well-endowed woman to a not so endowed woman. And a month later, I started chemotherapy, had 3 months of very aggressive chemotherapy. And then I had radiation for a month. And I will be on a pill for 5 years. And I will still be on a form of chemo until June. So yeah, so it's been a very, very long year, but I'm allowed to talk about it.
That's exactly it. You know, I want to go back a little bit when you said it was like almost like you were in a movie, right? This is, and that's with Chad with his incident with his eye. That was the same way I felt. And that's why I tell people, I was like, it was like this movie, like, wait, what do you mean he's going to surgery right now? Like everything just went whoosh, and your feelings, and you just don't even know how to process any of it.
That's very true. That's very true.
But I believe, because I have faith in God, and I know you do too. And that's, and I tell people all the time, whatever your faith is, whatever your belief is yours, but mine is God. And through that time, I knew who I could lean on for sure. You know,
that's right. I had a scripture written on my wall in Corinthians, my grace is sufficient for thee. I had that. So every day that I woke up, every day that I went to bed, I would see that. And that was kind of my guiding light, was his grace is sufficient. Like no matter how I'm feeling, no matter how scared or how sick, like God's got me. And that's, God's got me. God's got me. He's not going to drop me. He's not going to fail me. God's got me. And that was my constant. Like if I didn't know anything else, if I questioned everything else, I never questioned if God had me. And that hope is literally what got me through. Yeah. Is getting me through, because it's not over. It's just the harder parts are over. But yeah.
Right. And something that you did that really encouraged me a lot was, even on sometimes when you weren't feeling the greatest, and you would pop on there and do a live video to keep everybody updated. And I was just like, she's one strong badass woman, excuse my language. Some of those days that you were on there, you just weren't feeling good, but I think you maybe felt like that would help us know how you're doing, and also what specific prayers to pray for you.
Yeah. And one of the things, that I love about your show, and about you, I think is important. Like social media can become a highlight reel. When we're happy, when we're dancing, when we're having events, when we're getting awards. But people need to know how you got to that point, right? Yeah. And it's nothing wrong with showing the highlight reel.
Right.
But for me, being an author or a self-reflection enthusiast, as I often say, that you have to let people know the real. Because as we know, because we've been there, life can be difficult to manage through sometimes. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are maneuvering through life alone.
Yes.
I don't ever want anybody to have to feel like they're alone in their struggle. I don't personally have to know you, but you need to know that there's somebody else who feels like crap, but is still going to get up and try to fight and try to live and try to figure it out. Because if that was nothing else, like as much as I felt like this journey was about me, I knew it was about me helping other people. I knew it from the moment I heard cancer, from the moment I heard it. I didn't hear death. I know some people, when they hear cancer, they think death.
Right.
I didn't think I was going to die. What I did think ended up happening, but what I thought was, you're going to be very sick. Like I felt it immediately. Now, I'm not going to say that the possibility of death did not hover around me at some moments. I'm not going to say, because I never want to be so arrogant that I think I'm not going to die. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
I don't. But I also know that all of us are going to transition one day.
Sure.
So I didn't know if God, and I had to have that, as I say, come to Jesus meeting, like, God, if this is my time, kind of let me know, so if there are some prayers I need to pray, some amends I need to make, and some friendships or whatever, or some apologies I need to make, I don't want to leave this earth without doing it. But the one thing that kind of made me come away from those thoughts is just my honest belief that God wouldn't do that to my mom. Like I felt that strong, because, I take care of my mom, and that's my girl. Like that's not her assignment to have to bury me,
Right. Yes.
And that's what pulled me out. And I know, unfortunately, that some mothers do have to bury their children, and my heart aches because I don't know how they continue, right? But I just knew that that wasn't my mom's assignment. And so because of that, that's what made me fight and get up. And, because I had to go to the doctor in some cases, in parts of this journey, every day. I was at the hospital every day, Monday through Friday. It was a full-time job.
Wow.
But, had to do what I had to do to live.
Now, your mom was with you most of the time going and stuff like that, right?
Yes, ma'am. She would not go to, she would not let me go to an appointment without her. She would sit, when I had surgery, I have a pillow and it was literally strapped around me. And so I couldn't lay down in my bedroom. I had to sit up in the recliner. And so I slept in the living room. She would just stare at me, to make sure I was okay. And then once my hair fell out from chemotherapy, I had developed like these scab, like these, they almost look like chicken pox all over my head, and my head would hurt so bad. And these are the things that you don't hear about, like the stuff you don't know. But my
Right.
head was hurting and I had these bumps all over my head. So I literally, she actually has a picture of it, of me with a heating pad over my head. And I'm just trying to sleep. My head hurt so bad, I thought I was going to vomit. Like I was just in so much pain, had restless leg syndrome and neuropathy in my arms and my hands and feet, and because they took 3 lymph nodes out to make sure that the cancer hadn't spread anywhere else. So you have to be careful of lymphedema and
Sure.
neuropathy and things. And so I'm dropping everything, picking up small things was very difficult. Yeah, it's everybody says, Jamie, we can't wait for you to write a book about this. I said, I'm not writing a book about this. I don't ever want to relive this moment in my life again.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
probably going to be a book anyway, but
Probably.
oh,
So real quick, just how did you feel when your hair just started? I mean, coming, out. How did you feel? So just so let's talk about this real quick. You're beautiful, no matter. Just so you know,
thank
just
you.
your presence, everything about you is just beautiful. So
So
hair.
Tammy, you know this, but your audience may not know this about me. I change my hair every 2 or 3 weeks anyway. Like I would have curly hair, blonde hair, black hair. Like I love braids and sew-in. So, it's too hot for wigs in Florida. But I used to change my hair all the time. So when the doctor told me, your hair's gonna fall out. I was like, bald is the only style I haven't done. That's fine. It like the thought of my hair falling out wasn't traumatizing. What
Okay.
was traumatizing was seeing it fall out.
Hmm.
So everything you hear about, like you could literally be washing your hair and just clumps of hair would be in your hand. One day, this is one of the funniest stories. I was laying in bed and I have very bad hot flashes because I'm in menopause, and the chemotherapy like made them worse. And so I'm laying down and I kind of have this light on in my room, and that created a little light, and I jumped up and I'm screaming, right? Because I thought a spider was on my pillow.
Oh no.
It was my hair.
Oh my
My
goodness.
hair was falling. So that's when I was like, let's just go cut it, because this falling out thing is just way too traumatic. It's like losing a part of you, right?
Sure.
And my hair, I was never tied to my hair. Um, but it's still, to give you a little bit of context. So last year I had to have a hysterectomy.
Okay.
I suffered with fibroids for 13 years, 12 years, like very long time. And it was getting to the point where I was needing blood transfusions and just very weak, sick, just it was a lot. So I ended up having to get a hysterectomy, 2 months after I had to have an emergency gallbladder surgery.
Jeez.
So now I'm having to have breast surgery. My femininity was deeply attacked.
Sure. Sure.
So you can be strong and know you're a child of God and you're a king's kid and you're a woman of this, a purpose, and you're a diva, a destiny, all of the things. But when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and everything that you see about you that helps you know it's you, right? Physically
Right.
being stripped away from you. I don't care who you are, it affects you.
Oh yeah.
It affects you. And so you have to, that's why it's so important to know who you are internally,
Yeah.
who God has called you to be, because this can change. You know, I think about burn victims or people that are amputees, or anything that physically happens to you, can affect how you see yourself, which then can affect your self-esteem and your value, and then your confidence and your ability to interact and want to engage. I began to develop social anxiety.
Okay.
And my natural personality is, hey, right?
Right. Right.
And for so many months, I mean, for 8 months, you think about it, the only place I went was to the hospital or to the doctor.
Mhm.
Because of chemotherapy and my weakened immune system, I couldn't be out and about. And
Right.
so my field trips would be like Walmart and Target, you know what I mean? Grabbing things for the house. And it got to the point where I couldn't even do that. So everything was Instacart, you know, or Amazon. And so then when I did go out, I was just like, are people looking at me? Do I look sick? Do I look like I have cancer? Do I, you know, you're just constantly,
Yeah. In your own head.
yeah, yeah. And so I had to just own it, you know, and people would stop and say, oh my God, you look so I would always wear bright lipstick and I would put on some fun earrings, right? And
Yeah.
people would stop me, and I told one of my best friends, I said, I get more compliments bald headed with cancer than I ever had. Right? But
Right.
I recognize, because as you said, the light comes from the inside, you know, and so I just learned to, I ended up, this is going to sound very strange to a lot of people, but I began to appreciate what cancer brought to my life.
Mm, mm,
I had to appreciate the fact that it helped me to see me,
mm,
who I really was and who God created me to be. It helped me to recognize also how to then view other people, right?
mm.
And I think that I'm very open-minded and very, but you don't always know the whole story. I had a man say to me the other day, um, a guy that I used to work with, uh, very rudely. I saw him at a diner, and he says out loud, very loud, "What happened to your hair?"
Wow.
Really loud. And I returned in the same volume, "Cancer took it." And I walked away. And everybody's just like, like shook.
Right.
But then I came back and I said, oh, but the good news is I beat cancer. Cancer didn't beat me. And so then like everybody applauded, and he's just standing there. It was a very aggressive way to ask me anything. What if I was sensitive about it? Right? Because a lot of women are, you know,
Yes.
and for him to say, what happened to your hair? Sir, you know, so learning how to deal with other people's response to my situation. I told a young lady the other day, I said, I can't expect the world to tiptoe around my triggers. I have to know my triggers and know then how to respond. And so
Yeah.
that's something that I'm working on during this process, not just about cancer or how I look, but just anything in life. We all have triggers in life, and we can't expect people to know our story or know what bothers us, or what do we call our icks. Everybody doesn't know our icks,
Right.
but you need to know them. So as somebody is getting close to one of your icks, you need to know how to reposition yourself, or to kind of say, hey, set some boundaries, so that way it doesn't become a confrontational situation unnecessarily, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's good. I like what you said about, know us knowing our own triggers and not letting that, learn how to not let that affect us like you did. Like you said, you walked out, you said it, but you came back in to let everybody know.
Yeah,
By the way,
I
you know, I, yeah,
won.
it's true because I always talk about that a lot too. We never know what somebody's going through or how somebody feels about themselves. I
Right.
had a girl message me. She messaged me like in February telling me how much she loved all my inspiration and all this stuff, right? And then like 4 months later, she sent me this message. It was right before I was getting ready to compete in that bodybuilding
Yeah.
competition. And
Yeah.
my self-esteem wasn't that great either. I was just gonna go do it, you know.
Yeah.
So and I danced in my living room. Well, she sent me the nastiest message about nobody wants to see your fat body, nobody wants to see your old wrinkle and your fake platinum hair. That's the only thing that made me mad, Jamie, because I'm like, this hair is real. It is not fake. It was a message like this long
Oh my
for real
God.
things. And honestly, the only thing I would have said back to her is my hair's not fake because
Yeah.
I felt like my hair.
Right.
but
That's
she
right.
blocked me immediately, right? But the thing of it was, is luckily I was good at my mindset and stuff.
Right.
They could have thrown somebody that had some mental health issues or something off the edge that could have made them even go kill themselves. You just don't know.
That's very true. I
And
ended up during my chemo, I don't know how on TikTok, I ended up in this feed, getting this feed of these young people, 12 years old, that had committed suicide from
oh yeah,
bullying and stuff. And I'm like, how did this end up in my algorithm? And it was tearing my heart apart looking at these beautiful young ladies. And I'm so glad that you said something on your TikTok the other day about somebody saying something about your son dancing.
yeah.
And I was just like I wanted to go find them and say something, because you don't know what people are going through. And like you said, you very easily can keep scrolling. You very easily can just block me or ignore it. But like for you to feel like it is your purpose to come and say something negative to
Mm,
me, like, and like degrading, like trying to put me down type of negative, not
yeah,
not critique wise, like, oh, how about you try your hair in another color? Like that would have been a different response. Or
right,
I think you would look better in blue swimsuit versus green or something like that.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I don't know what the world has come to. I think that social media, as much as it's a powerful tool for us to connect and inspire and all of these things, it just becomes this place for people to get what I call virtual courage, to be able
Mhm.
to bully you and say something that they would never say to anybody's face, but they get behind that keyboard and all of a sudden they grow muscle. It's unfortunate.
Those keyboard warriors.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And that when that happened with Chad the other day, and that guy, or I don't even know who it is, I think it's a guy, commented that. And I was like, for a while, I wanted to just comment back. And I thought, you know what? I don't ever come back to anything for anyone. But
Mhm.
he needs to hear this, person needs to hear this, and other people need to hear it too.
That's,
Like, so he was having fun doing a little dance because the Lions won, and he's alive. This
that's right.
and easily they told us, like, he's got to have surgery now. This is life or death, and he could possibly lose his eye. And we are so blessed he didn't lose his eye and he's still here.
Right.
And to have somebody come across like that, like, no. But anyways,
You almost want to say, let me see you dance.
well, that's why at the end of that I just said, whatever it is that you have going on in your life that is hurting you, I hope that you fix it. That's
That's
it.
right. That's right.
And
Amen.
we never know. Like, even working when you work with in the hospital, and you've been a server too, right?
Mhm. I work at a Metro Diner in Daytona Beach. Come visit.
Yeah, there you go. So, everybody doesn't have good days, and uh, just us being kind to them can make their day so much better.
That's right.
Just
That's right.
I have a lady that comes into my diner once a week on Wednesdays, and I'm not always there on the day that she comes, but she came in today, and she just never has this. She just always looks mad, right? And I don't know if she just has that resting fit.
Yeah.
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 Today, I gave her her food, and I said, I don't know if anybody ever told you this, but you're absolutely beautiful. And she looked at me and she's like, no, I don't ever hear that. And she smiled at me and I said, well, you are. And I hope that you hear it more often. And as she left, she's like, thank you. You made my day brighter. By little words, we can just help people instead of, baby, what happened to your hair?
That's
Like,
right. And that's literally how he said it.
like, no,
Yeah.
maybe come over and talk to you a little bit and be like, hey, something going on that, you don't have your hair. And you could have easily, maybe it would have been like, no, I decided to shave it. Right. I mean,
Right. That's right. That's it.
yeah. Yeah.
There's that reminds me of a story. I used to, when I first moved here, I worked at Applebee's and this lady came in and she was so mean. Like she was just so mean to me. And I'm just, trying to be patient. And I'm like, and finally it was just on my heart to say, ma'am, are you okay? Like I just had to, because she was just throwing stuff at me and like she was just very, very mean. And so when I said, are you okay? She busted into tears.
Oh,
She
yeah.
said, my son just died from cancer.
Oh,
And she said, and I can't believe my baby's gone. She says he struggled for 6 years. And so I'm glad he's not suffering anymore. But I miss my baby. And this, her son was, I mean, I think she was an older woman. She was like 80s, 90s. And so her son was like 60 or whatever. She said, but he's still my baby. I said, he'll always be your baby. I sat down. I said, tell me about him. And she kind of looked at me and she just told me about her son. She started talking about him and things she loved about him. And she was like, I snuck out of the house. My daughter doesn't know I'm even gone, but I really wanted a hamburger and a milkshake.
Aw.
So we sat there and laughed, and I let her talk about her son. And so she ate, and she was like, I guess I should get back. I need my ticket. I said, your bill's already paid for. And she said, what? And she said, you can't do that. I said, yes, I can. I said, listen, I know that if your son was here, he would have paid for your meal. So consider this just a gift from your son today to let you know that he's always going to send angels to take care of you. And we just cried and hugged. And, you know, so if I had to gave her the energy that she was giving me, I would have made an already horrible day for her worse. Right. I just lost her son. And so for me, I always try to, and it's not easy because as you know, or anybody watching this know, working with people makes you want to go live on an island with people.
I was like, I live on an island.
Yeah. Yes. Like I have to literally, when I get off work, I literally sit in my car, no music, nothing, and just kind of sit there for about 10, 15 minutes. Then I drive home and then I come home and I'm like, I go take a shower and I'm just like, I have to be quiet and like, I don't want any engagement for like an hour. Then after that hour, then okay, mom, how was your day? How you feeling? Do you need anything? You know, but it does. And so we do because people are, as I learned, going through this even more so. I'm sitting in chemotherapy and I'm looking at all of these people in these chairs, all walks of life, all colors, all races, all political affiliation. None of that mattered. None of that mattered. How much money anybody had, none of that mattered. Everybody in that room was fighting for their life. There's this one lady, sweetest pie, comes, I saw her every week. She has cancer in 5 places in her body. She'll be taking chemo for the rest of her life. And it's just like, and you keep wondering like, God, why am I here? Why are you giving me this information? Why? And they called me Little Miss Sunshine because I would come in and I'm like, hey y'all, happy Wellness Monday, happy wellness, because it can be a very quiet, serene, almost depressing space.
Sure.
And I was the youngest person in there. And I was like, I can't do this every week. For the next 3 months, I can't do this. Like, there's no way I'm going to make it in here. People sleep, wrapped up, you know, hair falling out, cold caps on, you know, all kinds of stuff. Some people are sick and they got, you know, emesis bags. And I'm like, oh no. So me and my mom come in, bright clothes on, lipstick, big earrings. Hey, y'all. We bring treats for everybody or for our nurses. And we had to make it, I had to stop calling chemotherapy poison because that's what people call it. I had to call it my magic medicine because if I'm putting it in my body, why would I be calling it poison? Right? Like I needed to be, if it's poison for somebody else, I needed to be magic medicine for me. Like I needed to be magic medicine. I needed to be healing medicine. I needed to be good stuff. And like it literally just began to change how I viewed this journey because if I saw it as doom and gloom, then that's exactly what it was going to be. And I didn't want that experience at all. So
yeah. You don't show that experience at all. You know, did like when you talked the video that you called it the bear. I like that you did that.
Yes. Yeah. My mom used to sing a song every day. And she's like, we're going on a bear hunt. We're going to hunt the bears. And so we stopped using the word cancer in our house. It was called the bear. And so we'll say, well, when you get done fighting the bear, or once the bear is gone, and it helped to make it not as daunting.
Yeah.
Cancer just has a bad reputation, right? It just has, rightfully so. And so us calling it the bear made it a little bit more manageable. Not that a bear is easy to kill, but but you know, in a animation kind of way, it just allowed us to deal with it. Because it's to this day, it's still unbelievable to us. Like we'll be sitting because I still have to go to treatments, and my mom will look at me and I look at her and I'll be like, "Can you believe we're going through this?" Like, and she'll be like, "Nope." Like, but you know, we are. And so people say, "Hey, pink sister," and I'll be like, "Oh, I am a part of that club now."
Mhm. Yeah, you are, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. And
And
glad to be.
I'm glad that you're here and everything like that. I honestly, so since Chad's accident, I've always had big faith. I've taken leaps of faith lots of times and things like that. But through Chad's journey, I had 100% complete faith that he was going to be okay. You know, I just knew it. And I have to tell you this, that when I saw you and I saw your diagnosis and I saw you talking about it and I was praying for you and I knew you were going to be okay. I really did. I had that in my soul, like Jamie's going to be okay. She's going to get through this and she's going to have a story to help so many other people.
I hope. I hope. I ran into this is one of my favorite moments of this entire journey. So after the day I rang the bell,
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Disney Springs to this Indian restaurant by Food Network chef Maneet Chauhan. She has a fantastic Indian restaurant in Disney Springs. So that's where I wanted to go. As we were leaving, um, this is why it's important. Let me say this very clear. Make sure the audience has my full attention. It's so important that you follow those little inklings
Hmm.
that you feel, because that's God moving you. So I was walking and I just had this inkling to kind of cut through this store. And I'm in the store, like, I'm not buying anything in the store because everything in Disney Springs is overpriced, you know, like, so I'm
Right.
just looking like, why am I in? I'm really like, why am I in the store? So I'm trying to be aware. I got my, as I say, my spidey senses up, trying to see why I had to cut through the store. I got stuck in this crowd of people. So it was kind of like a delay. And, you know, I saw people out living, which was good for me. I needed to see that a day after. So I'm thinking that was the lesson. As I'm coming out of the store, um, a young lady that's a security guard is walking towards me, and we're both trying to go up this escalator. So I motioned for her to go. She motions for me to go, and I said thank you. So I go. Now, once you once you buy a red car, you see
Oh
red.
yeah. Yeah.
Once you have cancer, you can identify cancer somewhere else. I knew she had cancer, like I saw it. She had a mask on, and I could tell her hair had fallen out. She had a thing on her head. I had a shirt on that day that said, "I fought like a girl and I won." And it had a breast cancer ribbon on it. So she said, "Congratulations." I said, "Thank you." I said, I think I finally ended my journey. And she says, "Well, I'm just starting mine." I grabbed her to the side, and the first words that I said to her, I said, "Don't ever give up hope." I
Mhm.
said, "Let hope be your guide and your comfort." And I just began to talk to her. And we're standing like off in the corner, and she's just bawling,
Oh.
bawling, bawling, bawling. And I told her, I said, "Know this, that sometimes there are some places that you have to go and some people that you have to meet, but you would never encounter them unless you had their shoes on." I
Mhm.
said, "I wouldn't have seen you and been able to talk to you with such passion if I had not just gone through what you're getting ready to go through." We both got diagnosed at 44. We're both the youngest people that were in our cancer centers, chemo treatments. I was telling her about, I said, people are going to try to encourage you and they're going to get on your nerves. She was like, "They do." I said, "Give them grace. They don't know what else to say." I
Right.
said, "But take it, because one day when you need something, your memory's going to pull their words back to your forefront and you can embrace them." And I said, "And no," I said, "this is probably the biggest thing that you need to remember, that sometimes fighting means doing nothing,
Mhm.
resting your mind." And she's just crying, crying, crying. I said, "Now I know why God had me cut through that store." I said, "I was walking straight, but I just felt like something almost pulling me to kind of take this." I said, "In the crowd that stopped me gave me the chance that when I came out, I was running right into you."
Yes.
I said, "So it's all divine." I said, "Know that God is with you on this path. You may not understand it, may not make sense to you, but just trust him, trust the process. And I just did. We talked for about 5 minutes. And when I walked away from her, Tammy, I cannot tell you the amount of joy that I felt,
Mhm.
because it made all of my worst days that I went through, the days that I was throwing up and running to the bathroom and can't sleep and hot flashes and crying, like I did it for her. And I did
Mhm.
it for the other hers that I'll meet. And I did it for the other hymns that have to comfort the hers that are going through, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
doing that, like, was like, yeah, not that I want to do it again, but
No. Right.
let's make
Yeah.
that clear. We don't want to do that again. But it just, what they say, if my living, I don't want my living to be in vain. And not that I think that it happened for no reason, but I'm so appreciative that God allows me to live to see the reasons, because
Mhm.
people need hope.
Yeah, they certainly do. They certainly do. And I love how you said that, like go with your gut on things like that. Just like so the other day, I sent you a text, remember? Just
Yeah. Yes, randomly.
I'm kind of fighting a cold, but I'm doing pretty good, right? And I knew you came across my mind right then. And it wasn't, I knew we would needed to schedule this too, but it wasn't that. It was just like Jamie came across my mind. I'm just gonna send her a message. And that's what I've learned over years to do. If
Yeah.
someone cross my mind, or if I'm in line somewhere and it's taking way longer than it should, and the cashier's apologizing or whatever, all I
Mhm.
think in my head is I'm either being safe from being in an accident or something,
Yep.
or
Yep.
I'm somebody that I need to talk to.
That's right. That's right. That is literally has been my guiding light, because I think that we're so in a hurry to be on our agenda, right? Like, I got this to do, I got this to do. And I just want to be on God's timing. And so I used to get anxiety about it. And the chemo and all of that stuff gave me a lot of anxiety that I had to start taking medication for it. But I'm reading this book called How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes. It is uh an ancient book, right?
Heard
But
that.
it's been printed and reprinted. I recommend it to everybody, because it literally talks about every disease and illness in the world and how we can heal ourselves with positive thinking and perspective and loving yourself and setting boundaries and limitations. Just a lot of the things that I know. I told someone just recently, I'm not saying I gave myself cancer, but I gave myself cancer,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, I didn't have the best lifestyle. Now, I wasn't out here drinking and doing drugs and sleeping around. And I don't mean stuff
Right.
like that. Sometimes we can just be working so much.
And you were.
Oh my God, working 36 hours straight, working 2 and 3 jobs, just go, 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 right? Because I got dreams, I got goals, I want to take care of my mama. The economy is different from Chicago to Florida, so I gotta make up the difference when we moved here. And I got, so I
Mhm.
got these things, and God, I want to do what you told me to do. So you're just on this hustle mode. And a lot of that is being born from, in Illinois. It's just the energy there. I think it stays in.
Yeah.
But I wasn't resting. I wasn't sleeping. I didn't have the worst eating habits, but I didn't have the best eating habits either. And knowing that I had had 2 major surgeries within 2 months of each other, there should have been some adjustments in my schedule just to allow my body to, like, organs were removed from my body. And I
Yeah.
just kept going, like, and that's from the physical standpoint. And then from the mental and emotional standpoint, there were a lot of things that I was holding on to,
Mhm.
uh, just from certain friendships. I have amazing friends, so I can't even say I really have bad friendships, but some situationship friendships that I didn't like how they resolved or how they were happening, former relationships that I thought I had let go of, but I was still secretly mad. I was still secretly hurt. I was still secretly, like, revengeful on some people. And God had to show me all of this while I was out for 8 months. And this book, shout out to 2 of my friends. Look, They must have, two people, God must have known, two people sent me this book.
Oh, really?
Two people, my cousin Shannon, and then Angela Rose, who's also a friend of Glenn. They both sent me this book. And I love it. Like, I just keep reading it. I keep going back, going over different things, because I think as an author myself, focusing on self-reflection, like, your healing starts with you. You can't change other people. You can't change. My mom and I were talking about that recently, just with the political climate right now. I can't respond to how other people, I can only be kind. I can be, so all my posts, go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for, just go vote. Just be a responsible human being, a civic human being, but be kind. Go to the polls, be kind.
Be kind.
It's not hard. Let them vote for who they want to vote for. You can vote for who you want and be kind. Like, I just I want to get the poison out of the world, and I can't. There is no magic potion for it. All we have to do is adjust ourselves and how we respond to people. And all I want to be is love to people. And I know it has to start with myself. And so I have to love myself better and take better care of myself. And in that, then I'll have more to be able to give more. So,
yes, 100%. It's funny that you said that, because I was just talking to somebody, I don't remember who it was, but he said, all that we're supposed to do is love. Love is everything. And we're just supposed to love each other.
Yeah.
Just as much as God loves all of us, and the hatred and the splitting and all of that. I mean, for me, I don't watch TV or news, because I know that's what that's what they're taught to do.
That's right. Right.
Same way, like you said, do your duty, go vote. But I'm not going to go there and be rude to somebody because they're not doing the same. They actually know how they're voting, honestly. But,
right. You should know. Like, remember those days we didn't know who people were voting for?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I want to touch base just one more thing before we wrap this up, because I know you had to go to your doctor's appointment the day before Milton hit.
Yes.
And it was about to hit your house.
Yes.
Evacuate.
So this is one thing that I learned, and this is why I'm so honored to be on this show right now for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is life doesn't stop when you get a diagnosis. And so you have to figure out your fight, right? And so I have this, mind you, Milton was the second hurricane.
Right.
We had one 2 weeks prior. Thankfully, it just ended up being a tropical storm, just a whole lot of rain, no damage. But Milton was looking very serious. I'm not from Florida, so I always watch the Floridians. If they get nervous, then I get nervous. They not nervous. They buying beer, talking about hurricane parties, then we're fine. But when they get nervous, so they were getting nervous, and that's all the news was local news was talking about. So I had to have radiation. I have radiation Monday through Friday, and they kept saying, well, we don't know if you're going to have, we don't know. So they moved my appointment up. It was traditionally at 11:30. They moved it up to like 10 o'clock. So, because they wanted to get everybody in as early as possible so that the staff could then get home and be safe as well. And it was eerie. So if anybody lives in a state where there's hurricanes, you know how like weird the day feels. It's almost like the city is waiting for something, and the weather is waiting for something. It's just this energy you tangibly can feel. And so I went and received radiation that day. And on my home from radiation, rain just came out really crazy. I did a live that day. And I'm like, okay, guys, you see it's coming. Here it comes. It ended up not coming into the middle of the night. But yeah. And so it was, I jokingly said to some patients inside the cancer center, I think if you're fighting cancer, you shouldn't have to fight hurricanes too. And they was like, we agree. I said, it should be one or the other. But unfortunately, that's not life. And I think that it teaches you resilience. I think that I've always been a person who's had a great level of fortitude, but living in Florida has taught me an additional level of resilience. I watch this community and people from this state take some of the hardest hits in their life because of the weather, and the city will just pick up. And then we just had Biketoberfest like the week later, like, and so the city's vibrant again. It's bikers everywhere, and it's events and celebration. And I think the city's tired now. But yeah, it's taught me resilience. Like, if Chicagoans are hard, are go-getters, but there's something about Floridians that they just keep going. They keep going no matter what. So I'm appreciative of the lessons that I'm learning, being from another state and going through this journey. It's all things work together for the good for those who love the Lord and are called according to this purpose. And I'm beginning to really see that.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So what was the date that you got to ring the bell?
I should sear this in my head.
Good.
But it was so much going on. It was after, this is why it was supposed to be the day after my mom's birthday, which was the 18th.
Okay.
Because of the hurricane, it got moved. So
Oh,
my bell date is October 22nd, 2024. So to be a day that I celebrate for the rest of my life.
yes. Yes. I saw you out there ringing that bell and I was like, yeah.
I am cancer free. I am cancer free.
So good. So good. Then you sent me a picture of, you had a Hope bracelet on too, right?
I do. My aunt bought that for me, and it was so crazy. 'Cause she bought it. I got it the day after. No, I got it the week before. I got it on my mom's birthday because my uncle came to visit my mom, surprise my mom for her birthday. So she couldn't come because she was sick. So she sent it to me. And I said, Hope, my favorite word. And so I immediately had to send you a picture of the bracelet. And I wear it every day. And whenever I go out, I always tell people, don't forget your hope. Don't forget your hope. So I either have that one on or this one on. And this one says hope too. This one says hope and strength. So I always have something to inspire. I even gave a hope bracelet out to someone going through cancer. And I was like, don't ever lose this. Always keep hope. And I've become your assistant hope dealer.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that. I love that, Jane. And like I said, you are just a bright light in this world. Everything about you. I'm so blessed that I've got, well, we have not met in person yet, which we will.
We will soon. This year, well, 2025. Yes.
I got to meet Randy Stress.
Oh, you did? The neighborhood troublemaker.
The neighborhood troublemaker. Yeah, met him in person in Chicago. Yacht trip for the.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I got to meet I'm gonna mess her name up now. Pennsylvania. Vania.
Oh, Vania. I like how you just did that, Pennsylvania.
Told me that when she was on my podcast. That's how I was supposed to remember it. So yeah,
it's like sweetheart.
Yeah, they're all just great people.
Yeah.
And everything that through Glenn has been great people because of course, I just said church the other day, blessings recognize blessings.
Amen.
Is what ladies talked about. And it's so true. And I'm blessed to know you. I'm blessed to have you share on my podcast. I'm sure that someone's going to love your story and get something from it. And that's when I messaged you, I was like, can we do it before October's over?
Yeah. I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. My mom wanted me to do something visual like this. And I was like, Tammy's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. So I do want to say one thing that I want to definitely make sure that I haven't mentioned that one. I want to tell every woman out there, and men too, go to the doctor. Ignorance is not bliss. Because they caught my tumor early, I am able to sit here before you today. If I had have not gone to the doctor, ignored it or whatever, I didn't feel anything. It was no pain. It was nothing. But because of how aggressive my cancer was, it literally could have taken my life. And so I just want everybody to go to the doctor. If you don't have insurance, figure it out. If there are some free clinics in your city or your community, call and ask someone. Go to the Affordable Care Act website, healthcare.gov. Try to find there is somebody out there to help you, because I am able to sit before you today. I think that's become my new soapbox mission. Please go to the doctor, because something could literally be happening inside of you and you don't know. And I want you to know everything that's going on about you. Find out what goes on in your family. Talk to your loved ones. Find out what runs. If you can get a genetic testing, a lot of insurances pay for genetic testing, especially if something runs in your family, so you can be prepared. Talk to your children. Like, just communication clears all confusion. And I just want you to live the best life possible by making sure you're living a very well life. So
That's awesome. Those are great last words. That's perfect.
to the doctor.
I just want to thank you for getting on Hope with us today. And I'm just going to watch your journey. I'm super excited. And when I pass out Hope, I have Hope Rocks.
Do you?
I'm going to have you give me your address and I'm going to mail you a Hope Rock.
Okay, I would love that. Stand on the rock of hope. I love that. I love that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I sure will. Well, Tammy, thank you. I love your show. For anybody watching this, stay tuned to her. She's amazing. She's such a light. She said we didn't meet in person, but this is my girlfriend. This is my girl, my homie. She's a forever part of me. So yes, thank you.
Well, thank you again, Jamie. And thank you everybody for tuning into Hope. We're on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible. We have a YouTube channel. Subscribe, share it, like it. Give some 5 stars. I had a lady today said, "Oh my gosh, you got 5 stars." And I'm like, I gave them to myself.
That's right. Gotta show people how to love you.
So once again, thank you so much. And Jamie, thank you so much for getting on here. And you guys all have a great day. And we will chat with you soon.